So it's a Grape Explorer talking about today. So if you all know me, I love Italian white wine. And I have a little bit of a history behind Italian white wine because actually traveling throughout Italy, I got a chance to taste a lot of wines over there, came back with, wow, I love these wines because they were delicious. But we're gonna talk about an area that doesn't really get talked about in the area of white wine. So we're gonna talk about a Puglia. A Puglia, if you wanna look on the map, is all the way down here. So we always said that Italy is shaped like a woman's boot, and you can just see here's her toe here, and this is her boot here, and we have what's called the heel of the boot, which is called a Puglia. But this area is very famous for red wines. In fact, the rage right now in the United States in this area is Primitivo. So if you ever had a chance to try Primitivo, it's basically, a lot of people think that the origins of Zinfandel, which is planted quite heavily in California, came and was brought from this area and transplanted. But there's a lot of very interesting white wines that really never get talked about here in the United States. That's what this Grape Explorer is all about. We're here to talk about grapes that really get no chance to really get talked about and discovered. So we found a discovery here. And this wine is really, really interesting. So the name of the producer, or the name of the brand, is called Alice. But if you look at this, the grape varietal, which I'm going to highlight there on the front of the label, this is called Verdeca. And Verdeca is actually a very interesting grape, but this wine is an IGT. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't have any rules, but we're gonna point out a little bit where it comes from. So we're gonna go back to this map here. And if you see this area right here, this is called Locorotundo. Locorotundo is actually right here, sorry. Locorotundo is right here. This is a DOC wine, but the predominant grape that actually goes into this white wine, which is called Locorotundo, is actually this grape here. So they're starting to really do some things here because about 30 years ago, when I was actually importing wines from Puglia, I actually brought in a wine which was Locorotundo, and I always thought it was interesting, but this is a very hot, arid, dry area, and for obvious reasons, we're all the way to the south in Italy here, but look what's right across the way here. We got Croatia, which is right across the way. We're gonna talk about that because a lot of the grapes from Croatia, which were actually planted by the Greeks, were planted here along the coast here, and then they were transplanted here. So a lot of these grapes have origins from here, from Croatia and eventually Greece, and they're quite interesting, but nobody ever talks about these wines, but I'm here to talk about it today because I wanted to spend some time talking about this grape because I think it's fabulous. So if you want to, we even have our Hugh Johnson book where we pointed out a little bit on the map, and you can see that it's just south of the very large city of Bari, and that is where the white wine region is, and it's coastal. Now remember now, what do we talk about when we talk about what actually is the best white wines? The best white wines are along the coastline, and this is the Adriatic here. So you're gonna get a lot of that ocean breezes. You're also gonna get a lot of that sea spray, that salinity that actually gives these wines a beautiful mineral tone balance to it, and actually make these wines quite interesting. But again, nobody pays attention to the white wines here because this is the nirvana right here. I mean, you're talking about Primitivo, and sometimes the alcohol content can get quite high here, 14, 15%. These wines kind of nestle in at 13%, but because of stainless steel fermentation, and you're getting a lot of new winemaking techniques, this area is booming for white wines. And again, remember now, you've got the Adriatic right here, so this is actually giving these wines a lot of that mineral expression. But we're gonna taste the wine because I found some interesting flavors here. So just to smell the wine, I get a lot of orange peel, which is quite unique. You don't get that kind of a scent on a lot of wines, and you get that lemon lime kind of like citrus as well. And you do get that minerality that, as I always say, with Sauvignon Blanc especially, that you get that kind of mineral tone brightness right off the bat. That's what gives these wines, I think, lift and freshness. Doesn't make them overly cloying because again, now it's hot in this area, so you have to handle very delicately the press. You have to handle also the fermentation to make these wines have some relative balance to it. But you do get that sea spray kind of in the nose. But when we taste this wine, Oh, you get a lot of citrus. You get that beautiful mineral expression. I'm still tasting this wine. This is really lovely. It's got lovely acidity to it. I would say you have to drink this wine young. You cannot age something like this. I think it's gonna, it won't be as fresh. So this wine tastes like it just came right out of the tank. It's just beautifully fresh and vibrant. It has, again, that verve to it. I love that minerality expression that really jumps out at you. This is a perfect wine for fish, and you can see right on there, the label, it actually highlights a fish. So that they're telling you to have this with fish. And of course, you know, we're in the Adriatic here. Think about the fish that are coming off this area. So if you're hanging out in a restaurant right here, right on the coast, Locorotundo, right here, this area must be just beautiful, especially in a very hot Mediterranean climate like this, to be close to the ocean, have a glass of this with this fish. This is a beautiful white wine. Again, this is the Grape Explorer, always talking about really, really great white wines from Italy.